Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Collect This. Today's episode is episode number 4, and we are here with Bolasaur, one of the community members, a longtime community member. Bolasaur, the first question that we ask on every podcast episode is, what do you like to collect?
What do I like to collect? Oof. Board games. Board games is going to be the biggest thing. Games in general, honestly, but like the physical thing that takes up the most space in my condo is my board game collection. I'm gonna have to go with that.
Okay. Now, do you have a favorite board game?
That is the worst question to ask me.
Or maybe the
Favorite
top five. How about
is
top
like
five?
the top five. Top five. Even that, like it's so dependent on how many players you have,
Hmm.
what kind of people you're playing with. It's the same way I feel about video games. Like, do you have a favorite video game? Well, who am I playing with? How many do we have? What do they like to do? Because like, do you go the social side? Do you go the deep strategy side? There's really so much, but I can give you like a few top producers, maybe like a publishing
Let's do
companies.
that. Let's do that.
Yeah. Okay. Like Red Raven Games, Ryan Lacow. I love and support them because they are what would you call it? One man show. Couldn't get his own games published, so started his own publishing company.
Nice.
Publishes, does all the own art, does own his own design for all his games, and they're amazing. So, like, very big inspiration there. Um, who else do we have? Matt Leacock does all the pandemic style games, and they're always a ton of fun. So Pandemic, Forbidden Island, Forbidden Desert, Forbidden Sky, all the Forbidden games. Lots of good fun co-op. And the third one on that is why am I'm gonna blank on his name. Gonna blank on his name. Ah, whatever. He's local Toronto too, which is terrible that I'm forgetting his name. But he made Blood Rage. He did the Bloodborne card game. I swear he produces a new board game every 3 months.
Nice.
Yeah,
Okay, that's pretty dope to be honest with you. I'm a big fan of Settlers of Catan. I don't play a lot of board
that's a
games.
nice classic.
And then I'm a big fan of the Trailer Park Boys, so they made like a board game. I don't know who High Rollers. I think High Roller Games made the board game. It's probably like an indie, like they only made that game and that's it. But it's a fun game.
Okay, I might have seen it somewhere.
I'm sure you have. I mean, if you have like, I think of everybody in the community, you probably know more about board games than anybody else. So I believe you would be the guy to ask for. So if anybody's watching this that likes board games, Balasaur is your guy. If you're looking for the hookup or a
Yeah.
recommendation on something, a
I,
board
I
game.
literally I literally used to do it for a living. I used to teach and recommend board games for a living. So,
Really?
oh yeah,
Balser, I feel like you're like so this is we'll transition to this. I feel like you are the most interesting man in the entire community. I mean,
oh,
you have
come on.
lived in other countries. You speak multiple languages. How many languages can you speak fluently? And then obviously, I know you probably know bits and portions of other languages.
Fluently, I would really only say English. But if I had to stretch it like conversationally fluently, Japanese. And receiving fluently, like I have a terrible time making sentences in Spanish, but I can generally get some of like most of the gist, like I can get by in Spanish. If I went to a store, needed to buy something, or in a restaurant, I could get by and I could get understand most of what was being said to me.
Okay.
It would just be hard to like have a conversation or make sentences in that. Um, and then it all trails off from there. It's French, and then Korean now, and then like a smattering of words from whatever. I always tried when I've traveled a lot, and I've always tried to learn at least a few key words out of any country I've ever been to. And I think it's just polite. Like honestly, you should like because you should never expect any country you go to speak English. People who go there and be like, "Why don't you speak English?" It's like if it's like them coming to Canada and being like, "Why don't you speak Hindi?" It's about respecting their culture. So I always try to learn hello. I always try to learn thank you, and I always try to learn please and cheers. Those are my top 4 words that I make the biggest effort to try to learn and use whenever I go somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like being courteous is definitely something important when you're in another
Exactly.
country. I mean, yeah, you don't want to seem like the
the stereotypical traveling, like the what is it? There was a trend a long time ago when I was still doing a lot of active backpacking where Americans who are backpacking would get Canadian flags for their bags, like to say like to be like, "Oh, I'm a Canadian," so that they don't instantly get judged because there was a period, and I'm not sure if it's even over yet, where Americans weren't looked as popular in world travel. Like they would immediately like the assumption would be like, "Oh, you're going to be loud and that," and like people who didn't want that reputation oftentimes would just get like a Canadian flag or an English flag for the bag just so they don't get instant judged.
Nice. That's actually a good idea, to be honest with you. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm a pretty loud person, so I feel like so you've obviously traveled to other countries before. How many different countries have you been in?
Oof.
It's probably a large number then.
I want to say like somewhere between 24, 25, and 35, somewhere in there.
Okay, okay.
Of the world, and that's also depending on, like, do you consider a one-day pass through
Yeah.
as visiting the country?
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Yeah,
But yeah.
definitely. I mean,
Yeah,
obviously
it's up there.
you didn't get there and see the culture, but I mean, if you were there a day, you were in that country. You know what I mean?
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's a few. So, yeah, I'd put it in, like, let's average it and say around 30. Around 30.
That's amazing.
Uh, my goal 2 of my goals in life, 1 is my attainable one, 2nd is my unobtainable one. The obtainable one is hit every single continent. The only continent I have left, besides Antarctica, and I have a plan for that, is Africa. So
Okay.
I have yet to actually go to Africa, but I have a plan for that, and I do have a plan for Antarctica. But then the second one is to visit every country, which I know is unobtainable, but it's like you need that unobtainable goal to really reach for.
I like that. I like that a lot. Honestly,
Yeah,
I think everybody should make goals for different things in life, and you should. Some of them won't be reached, and others you'll reach other goals in between because you'll make new ones. Wow,
exactly.
that's the beautiful thing about life, and
Mm,
I like that a lot. Um,
perfect.
how did you come up with Bolasaur the name?
That is a long and personal-ish story, but
Okay.
I don't mind getting into it, it's fine. And it's not even that. I always say long, but it feels long to me, but it isn't really. I had an ex-partner of mine, I think one day you know how you always come up with a nickname for your partner. There's always something, even if it's just like a variation on the standards like
True.
babe, hun, that. There's always a pet name that you have for whoever you're with. And I didn't want it to be like baby, and for some reason I came up with Babu, and then they started responding and calling me Balu, and then fast forward years, and I was making a Stadia account because I'm an early adopter. I really wanted to try it out. And I was like my normal screen name, which was Astro Boy with some other extending things. So I won't go like too much into those. I don't want to get stalked in those other accounts. But it was Astro Boy was the biggest thing because I used to study astrophysics and I liked anime, so it was a good like mash as well as Astro Boy. But that was taken. And so I was trying my hardest to come up with a name. And there, one of the profile pictures was this really derpy looking dinosaur, kind of like running and almost like tripping. And I'm like, this is perfect. And then I was thinking of like what I should call myself. And it just came to my head, Balusaur, and make myself Balu as the dinosaur. And that is now stuck. And I love it because it doesn't seem like anybody else in the world has this username. So anytime I go and make an account, I don't have to worry about like adding a few numbers or some weird letters or adding a cap like an X to the front or that to get the that nice green check mark for my username.
Yeah, it definitely, I thought my name would be good, but some places don't like the number two in front of your username and want actual characters. So
Uh
I have those are the only issues that I have, and then somebody has the TRS Twitter account, and I'd like to buy it from them, but they won't.
really?
They won't respond to me.
They took the two eras from you?
They didn't take it from me. They had it before me,
Okay.
but they don't have anything else. Like I've gotten everything else. They just the only thing they have is two
What kind of
errors.
what kind of content is on the two? There's nothing. It's just
It's just every once in a while they retweet random stuff. Yeah, it's not really an often used account for sure. I mean, I have the two underscore errors, but I would love to just get the two errors Twitter. So if you're out there or if somebody knows this guy, please get him in the
Make it a
comments.
mission. Hunt them down.
Exactly. Let's get him. Hashtag justice for two errors Twitter.
Justice for yeah, justice
Just
for
for
two.
dose. You know, it's funny because I thought your name had to do with Pokemon. I thought Bulbasaur maybe.
Every single person, like when I go into somebody's chat, if I raid somebody that I haven't raided before, like when I'm trying to like find somebody new and like extend my community reach, and I raid somebody and they're like Balusaur. Now, is that from Bulbasaur? And the funny thing is, Bulbasaur is my favorite Pokemon.
Nice.
It
Okay.
is my favorite starter and like one of my favorite Pokemons for sure. But it has no it literally they're just parallel and yet they met. So the origins of my like favorite Pokemon and my username and my streaming name all just kind of like aligned independent from each other. It's like the Galapagos evolution of things. They seem similar, but they evolved separately at the same time.
I kind of love that, honestly. That's pretty dope that you know, you didn't even think of that. You know, when
Yeah, it's
I
just
mean, Balu was a nickname that was given to you, and then you know, you saw a dinosaur tripping, and it's pretty cool. And then somehow it ties back, and everybody always asks you because that's what I thought for the longest time. That's exactly what I thought. And then you know, my favorite Pokemon, my favorite starter is Bulbasaur. My favorite Pokemon is Magikarp, but my favorite, you know, I guess Magikarp's my favorite Pokemon. Venusaur is my favorite, like maybe my second favorite Pokemon, but Bulbasaur obviously favorite starter for sure. I
have you
always,
seen the official Magikarp song released by the Pokemon Company?
I have not
Because
seen the
it's
Magikarp. Uh
when
oh,
this is all over, when we're done recording, make sure you go check that out. It's great. It sums up Magikarp perfectly.
I gotta
Um,
watch it. I gotta watch it
yeah,
for sure.
yeah. But Bulbasaur is one of the best starters, at least from the original games as well, because your first gym you're going into is Rock. So a lot of people are originally like, oh, I should go Squirtle, but the next gym you go to is Water. So Bulbasaur carries you right through the first two gyms, and it just makes sense. It just makes sense.
I mean, I didn't think of it strategically. I just think he looks super cute.
Oh, he is super cute.
Yeah. I
My
mean,
original, but yeah, I'm thinking of like when I was a kid, and I was thinking like you know how you get really into Pokemon when you're a kid,
yeah,
and I say that as you know how you get really into Pokemon when you're a kid because it still happens. I have so many people in my community who come through my I chat and they're so into Pokemon and they know everything about all the new Pokemon, which I don't know. I know the 150 because that was my gen, but they know the 900 that are now or like 1200. I don't know what the number is now. It's just something ridiculous. Something so high they can't even fit them all in each game as they release them.
yeah, it's
Uh,
insane.
but yeah, so when you were that, you would play through the game and then you would play through it again and you would play through it again because you loved it and you would find those strategies and you would know everything. And so that's what really like drew me. But I also chose them because they were cute. So yeah.
Yeah, that's you know, he just looks super cute, and you know, uh, you're right though. There is a lot of Pokemon now.
Oh,
I play Pokemon Go. Like I've just recently gotten back into Pokemon Go, and holy smokes, like there is way too many Pokemon. Like I don't, you know, like, and some of them are like there's like these little bitty looking Pikachu's that I don't understand. It's not
yeah.
Pichu. It's
There's
like,
like there's now so many weird variations on there was like the blue Pikachu, which
oh,
is what Marill. I think it's Marill.
oh, Meryl. Yeah, yeah, yeah. There's
Yeah,
Meryl.
blue it looks like a blue round water Pikachu or something, and then like it's 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 like looking at a foreign land for me now. I look there and I'm like, I don't recognize half of the it's like going back to a like 35-year reunion at something. And you're like, I don't recognize half the people here anymore.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. It's ridiculous, but I mean, I enjoy Pokemon Go because it's kind of like a nice time killer,
Oh,
especially like if you're you know just,
yeah,
just chilling.
it's phenomenal and gets you out. It gets you out and walking. I go through waves with Pokemon. I think I've had like 3 Like, just like COVID. I'm in my third I've been through 3 waves of Pokemon Go where I get, like, really into it, and I'm, like, out there every day and, like, "Oh, there's a raid, I gotta go get to it," and then it kinda goes down, and I'm like, "Okay, I haven't touched it in a while," but then they recently sent me another code, something to give me, like, some free gifts to try to get me back into it, I think. So,
Nice,
we'll see.
nice.
Maybe there'll be a 4th wave.
Hey, might as well. I mean, I stopped playing for a long time. I played when it first came out in 2016 or 2015. I forget what it was.
Oh, yeah. And did you play in the pre-launch, or did you play in the
I
only
play
from the original?
I
Yeah.
played pre-launch, and then I played all the way up until I think a year. I played for a whole year, and then I stopped because I got, get bored of it. You know what I mean? Like over time, it's like,
Happens,
well,
yeah.
you've already seen and done everything.
And
I
that's what
didn't,
happens.
yeah, I didn't have the whole 151 or whatever, but I was like, I'm content with what I got. We're good.
Yeah. Well, they made some of the 151 were, like, impossible to, like, track down or, like, event specific. Like, I still never got a Mewtwo because you had to get the what is it? The epic raid or legendary raid passes, and then you or get invited to them, and then you also had to go on a specific day at a specific time and win and catch it. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
then that just perfect stormed itself that I was always working or not in the country or in the area where I needed to be to get my Mewtwo. And it was a little saddening, but yeah, it kind of wears off as you dissect and you learn the game, and then you start feeling like, oh, it's like more of the same. And then you take time and you forget, and then you come back.
I will tell you that Reddit's a good tool. I mean, there's a subreddit called Pokemon Raids, and a lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
people post in there. And when Mewtwo is like, one of the Pokemon, that one of the legendaries that spawn, you can just go in there, post your friend code, add friends, and immediately you'll have 10 people
Ooh.
to beat the raid. All you need is a remote raid pass, which I feel like once a week Pokemon gives away a remote raid pass.
Yeah, that's a new I haven't played in forever, but that's a new thing
COVID.
since COVID, right?
Yeah.
So that, to get people to go to raids without, encouraging gatherings.
Yeah, and then if not, I think they're like $1 or something like that. It's really not too bad. I mean, if you're bored or you really want something, I mean, it's attainable. It's not like it used to be where you have to be somewhere specific or it's still there's still challenge, but there's so many people. I know the other day I saw a Venusaur. And I have plenty of Venusaurs in Pokemon Go, but it's like let me go get it. Uh, and then
You never know it's going to be that perfect IV.
that's true. It was
I've got yeah.
yep. It was a three
I was
star. Yeah.
3-star. Oh, nice. I got a perfect IV 100% Charizard, and that was just
Woo!
random walking around one day, and I keep it as my pet. It's amazing. So you
I
never know. You got to go after them.
I have a perfect IV Shining Magikarp. I don't
Oh,
want to
are you gonna
evolve it. I don't want to
oh,
evolve it because it's
you
a
don't want that red
Magikarp.
Gyarados?
I know. I've been told I should evolve it, but I don't know if
I've
I
always
want
been
to.
I've always been so disappointed in the shinies. Because like the like one of the first shinies that I ever learned about because I'm not that young. So the 151 was my generation. I kind of fell out of Pokemon. So when the shinies came in, I wasn't really into Pokemon at that time, but I was told about it. And the one I was told about was Gold Magikarp, Red Gyarados. I'm like, that is amazing. That is a shiny. And then when I got into back into Pokemon Go, and then I got back more into some of the earlier games, and I was like, yeah, let's go shiny farming. This week's shiny. And then all of the Pokemons that just turned out shiny just looked ill. They're all a shade of green or a shade of purple. I'm like, are you okay, Wobbuffet? Are you okay? Like, you're just asking, and like, if maybe they're feeling a little queasy.
That is true. Yeah, some of them do look a little weird. I,
Yeah.
I, one of the Pokemon that kind of got modifications for Gen 2 Charizard Shining. So Gen 2 was obviously the first generation that Shining Pokemon became a thing. And that was a really dope looking Charizard. It was like a purple Charizard with like
Yeah.
green underwings, and then they changed Charizard.
Now it's like black,
Yeah,
right?
it's a
With the
black with red underwing. Yeah,
yeah.
I kind of like the purple, to be honest with you.
I think is it out of all the modern, like the newer ones that have come out that I really like their shiny version is the Rayquaza.
Okay.
Rayquaza, the black Rayquaza is just really intense. It turns this like giant snake dragon into something that's like giant, angry, intense snake dragon, and I love it.
Nice, nice. Yeah, some of them look a little dull, and some of them look yeah, but there are some that are pretty big bangers for sure.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. I know that you came from you like you clicked on a link to one of us a streamer that I posted on Reddit, and that's kind of how you came into the community.
Mhm.
Did you ever watch Twitch or other streamers before you started streaming?
Not really. Honestly, I knew about Twitch, but for some reason I just never had that desire to watch it, because and I feel like it's the same way that, you know, all those web comics on like, why are you sitting there watching Twitch and this sort of thing, and then it clips to them sitting there watching sports. I was never either of those. I like sports, but I like playing them, and it's the same with video games. I was like, I like video games, but if I'm watching it, I want to be playing it. So I never really considered it as a place for me, but like a number of people, COVID kind of like interrupted the social aspect of games and the meeting up. And a friend of mine suggested, because I was playing a lot of games and I was feeling a little alone because I was used to playing games and then having friends over and you'd play games together. And he's like, well, you could stream and then people can watch you. And it's kind of like having friends sit and watch you play games. And then that led me to a friend who was another flight attendant of a friend of mine, who said, "Oh, there's a group of flying nerds, and you can post in there, and maybe you'll get some more viewers." And from there, I met Not the First Omar. And
Nice.
Not the First Omar was the very first person that I actually watched, because I'm like, "Oh, here's somebody with wow, they had," and at the time they had like 150 followers, and to me that was insane because I was not affiliate. I had like an average view of like 1.1 and like 20 followers. And so I was like, I gotta learn. I must learn from this man. And they suggested I go into Reddit and poke around in there, post in there, like look at some of the communities. And one of the very first ones that I followed through there was somebody in your community, and then from there it just kind of exploded. Like I believe they're DC Bizarro now. DC Bizarro was in there and immediately said, "Hey, you seem good. Why don't you join my community?" And from there, it just kind of like link, and I now interconnected and interwoven in all of these amazing people. Yourself, Dos Eras, everybody's like amazing, interconnected, wholesome community of support.
Yeah,
And if you hear a beeping, that is my black bean soup, telling me that I should go check the tenderness of the beans.
definitely go check it out if you want to. Um, that's pretty awesome, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want, we could put it on a pause, or if you want to go check on the beans real quick,
Yeah, let me go check on
go
those
check on the
beans.
beans. Go check on the
Let me
beans.
go
You're
check on
good.
those beans. It's important. It's important. The beans are
Yes,
important.
beans are very
Give
important.
me give me a moment here.
So while he's going out there to grab his beans and check on him, guys, yeah, he came from like I said, posts on Reddit, and I think I'll give some new streamer advice here. Definitely always try to build community by going to other communities. Now, obviously, don't start posting your link, but Bolasaur got connected with the community by joining joining discords. He would just be involved in chat, etc., etc. I think that's the way to go if you are looking to build yourself as a brand new streamer. Not the first Omar's advice of going to Discord, finding new communities. Get yourself into it. There's so many different communities. It's not just the communities that we have. Bolasaur has a pretty big community, and so do I. And so does Bizarro, who he mentioned. There's just so many communities that you could get involved
The
in.
beans have been checked. They are 60% of the way done, and they just needed a little liquid boost. But they are
Awesome.
good. They're good. It'll be about probably another hour or so of slow cooking these beans.
I got you. I got you. You know what? Since we're on that subject, we'll get to the food subject here in a second. But we were talking about Twitch. Did you have any inspirations? Obviously, I know Omar helped you for sure.
Mhm.
He pretty much pushed you on checking on Reddit, and that's where you ended up finding all the communities that we're all involved in. Was there anything else like that inspired you when you started streaming? Did you like take anything apart from somewhere else and put it in there? Doesn't have to be streamer specific, but
There were numbers. So once I got into that community, it once I anytime I get into anything, I immediately am like, okay, I'm going to take this apart and dissect it and understand it. And that's why I love board games and why I teach and understand them, because like open it up, dissect and understand the rule book. So I kind of did that with Twitch. I dissected and understood the rule book by digging my way through everybody in the community, digging my way through the biggest streamers in Twitch and seeing what they were doing, how they sounded, how they looked, and seeing what I could borrow and use to improve my own stream, which is in general, it seems like the way to go with any kind of social platform is look what's popular and what other people are doing, and emulate that. And then the deep dives that I kind of took into a lot of other like Twitch sort of gurus communities, help me understand the sound, how to deal with sound, what's the best platform to stream on, all these things. And I just like would research and add these little bites of information into my toolbox, as it were.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Now, you're a big, obviously, we both are pretty big audio nerds. We
Yeah.
really like to make sure that we
Oh yeah.
sound good. I feel like audio is the most important function of a stream. You can have, a terrible video camera or no video camera at all. But the most important thing is, somebody, if somebody comes to your stream and you sound bad, they're probably not going to stick around. I mean, I wouldn't. And on top of that, I mean, that is your way to communicate to an audience is with that mic. If not, why are you even watching? Why not just play the video game yourself? And I know you feel the same way. Is there any any advice you could give somebody? I see now you're using a Blue Yeti, but I know in the past you didn't have that Blue Yeti. You actually you dissected something and made like some crazy mic a while back. I remember that.
Yeah, it honestly, after all my dives, there was another inspiration that I have, and they're already made like huge, so like we don't even really need to shut them up. But Harris Heller, I think a lot of streamers always end up
Mhm.
in their thing because they're sponsored by a lot of streaming softwares, and they're all over the music and DMCA free music scene. Um, but they kind of gave me like helped me lead me into a bunch of other connected videos from a bunch of other streamers and or just tech files that the mic can you can reach peak perfection sound with the best mic, but you do not need the best mic to get to good sound. Almost any mic can be raised to a good sound, and a lot of it has to do with just balancing the gain and your filters. And there's a lot of things. I even have a small YouTube tutorial on that. But I took a $20 lav style microphone that I found on um, on Amazon, because when I started, I was like literally streaming with nothing, just game audio. And my friend is like, nobody's gonna watch. You need to, because people go to Twitch to connect. With the exception of like, unless you're a pro, if you are the top in a video game, then people might go and they don't care what you're saying. They just want to watch and learn. But outside of that, they're gonna want to connect with you, which means you need a mic. So that was I was like, I don't want to spend a lot of money because I just started and I don't want to invest too much. So I got the cheapest mic I could find, and it kind of sounded like garbage now that I go back to some of the VODs from the early days. When I got my own computer and I started doing more of a dive into the sound, I was able to uplift it. But the thing with the lav is it's very directional. So I built this wire system out of a wire coat hanger that I completely unscrewed and tied so it hung around my neck and held the lav mic directly pointing at my mouth, but not like in front of my mouth, so I wouldn't get the sibilance and I wouldn't get the pops like and I wouldn't need to have a pop filter or anything on it. It was probably the most DIY thing that I've done for my stream.
Yeah, I mean that's crazy. It was like just $20 mic, and I remember when he made that contraption. It was
Yeah.
a pretty dang interesting. I remember asking you about it. I was like, "Holy crap, dude! Like, what is this?"
Yeah. And I go back to those once I understood how to like deal with the filters and gain. I go back and listen to those. I'm like, this is decent. Like you
Yeah.
can listen to this. You're not going to be driven away by weird background. That's one of my pet peeves. Um and I'm never shy to say it. When I drop in anybody's streams or if I'm lurking somebody and I end up rated into somebody I've never seen before and I hear like
Mm.
like in their background, you can hear their fans or you hear the clickety clacketing of the keys or you hear like some faint like background noises. I'm like, I can tell you how to get rid of that in like 2 seconds. And I just immediately in chat, it's like, hey, do you know you can do this to just like get rid of that sound? Just because I want to help them.
Yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, thank you so much for doing that." And my biggest thing is I'm always like, "No, thank you." Because it helps me listen to you and it makes it more pleasurable. So thank you for actually doing that.
So to all those that are out there that are brand new, I mean,
Yeah.
literally, like your mic is like that is it. Like this is the most important
Mhm.
piece of equipment that you will own. Doesn't matter about the camera. You can have the fanciest cameras. I know people that have some of the best computers, but unless your mic sounds good, I mean, it's
Yeah.
hard. I mean, like some people listen to it in their car, and imagine like getting a bunch of crazy static or
Yeah.
crazy noises in the background. Or some people like to listen to it on their TV with their surround sounds. I
Yeah.
mean, like think about like you got to think about those people. Like
I think yeah, there's the people who literally do not watch the stream, only listen to it.
yep.
And so to hit everybody, that's why I think it's pretty much agreed upon by most streamers that it is audio, gameplay, and then content. Because you can and then like content being like your personal camera, any other like scene transitions you do. Because the most important thing is hearing you. Then people want to know the game that you're playing. And then people want to know you and connect with you.
Exactly. Exactly. I 100% agree with that, and I think that's definitely the route to take.
Yeah.
Like I said, people will click away from you if you sound bad.
Yep.
They're just gonna, yep, or unfollow you, and that's it. I mean, please work on your audio. uh, and
If
Bolasaur
you
for
need to
months,
come to me.
yeah.
I will help. I literally have sat with so many people for like an hour out of my day just because I want them to sound better so that I can enjoy the stream.
Now, Bolasaur, we'll talk about this next. You started getting into VR streaming
Yeah.
recently. I guess how tough is it? Not just I see you're interacting with chat, you're doing a bunch of other stuff at the same time. How is that transition?
It was a big learning experience. I still have the VOD of when I sort of unboxed and tried to get things set up in the same day, and that was a mistake. I really should have dealt with it all beforehand. But there's a lot of challenges because my headset of choice that I've gone with is the Oculus Quest 2. One because it's the cheapest entry point that I found into VR, and my friend had let me try the Oculus Quest 1, and for the first time, I tried many other like heads of the older headsets, like the original Oculus Rift, and some of like the arcade ones that they use, and the PSVR, and they were good, but they had this screen door thing that always bothered me. Like I was moving around and I could see this grid. And the Oculus Quest was the first one that I didn't. So I immediately already had an affinity to it. And then when like the Quest 2 is somehow cheaper than the original Quest, and is the cheapest entry point and is standalone. So that sold it on me. But that then rose some other issues of there's some games that only exist on the Quest that don't exist on like Steam or the PC, which made streaming and getting chat between the two a little tricky and difficult. And then I run on a laptop, and I very quickly learned that VR is very heavy. And I've had to, in order to get it to run optimally, I've had to kind of gut my version of OBS. So I have a specific scene selection where everything is gutted except the bare minimum of my notification sounds, and the one scene. And I even remove the integration of stream elements during that time because that eats about like 5% of my CPU, and every percent matters when you're running VR, just because it's so heavy. Hopefully, more optimization will go into it as VR becomes a bigger thing. But yes, there's so many challenges. But the biggest things I found that I learned, Live is a free application on Steam that you can use, and it works with most any Steam based VR games. And then I recently finally figured out a way to do it on Oculus. When you're using the Oculus Link, you can pop up a desktop window and then you can pin it. so that it stays even when you're out of the menu. So the problem is it's now blocking a section, but you just got to put it somewhere like maybe up and behind your head, and it'll always be up and behind your head. And that way it's hopefully not in the way. And you can just kind of like glance up there when you're looking at the chat.
Yeah, I've seen you do that, and it's pretty cool, honestly. Like, because you can actually see the, what you're looking at
Exactly.
on stream. It's pretty dope, honestly. Yeah, and yeah, you're right. VR is very memory intensive. I mean,
Mhm.
lots of things are really memory intensive. To be honest with you, I mean, OBS Studio, like my OBS Studio, is super memory intensive. Like
Oh,
I can't imagine adding VR like
yeah.
on the laptop when I was using the laptop, and I was using a laptop for 4+ months. Now I have my desktop back, but man, I couldn't imagine running
Yeah.
anything else. Like my laptop was already like pretty much
It
hating me.
Laptops have the additional challenge, which it's kind of worked at there's been some benefits, but also a lot of challenges. And it's the for me, it's not even the like because my system, 16 gigs of memory, it reaches the max, but that has never really been that big of the challenge. I could probably squeeze a little bit more out of it. And my GPU is a RTX 2070 laptop style. And even that, I've rarely seen that max out. It's my CPU has always been the limiting factor. And the unfortunate part about a laptop and streaming is in order to do certain captures, you have to have your OBS running on your CPU. If I could shunt it onto my GPU, I would probably actually be able to do a lot more, but I have to have it running on my CPU. Otherwise, it can't actually access my displays in
Mm.
order to do some of the captures. Which when I worked it out, there was either game capture only, so I run it on the GPU and run everything on the GPU and capture from only game capture, or have the desktop capture and be able to do more. And I thought I preferred the versatility of just doing desktop capture, which meant I was just going to put more weight on my CPU. And unfortunately, VR and a lot of games, depending on which games are out there, are kind of optimized to use more CPU than GPU. Which is it's friendly to the average game player because most people have a better CPU than GPU in a lot of systems, just because CPU is always like sold as the best thing. So because of that, a lot of games, in order to work on more machines, heavily optimized to run on CPU, and but that means that you're now forced in the section where the weight is all on your CPU, and it's very hard to pull that off.
Yeah, it is. It definitely is, and that was the issue that I was having with the laptop, and I guess it was having a laptop is not a bad thing though. I mean, the nice thing about it is portability. I mean, I didn't have to
Yes.
travel around with my desktop while I was traveling around. Because I was worried I was gonna break it. To be honest with you, like, it's glass, and I don't want tempered glass to break. I mean, I know I've seen, when I built somebody's computer a long time ago, tempered glass is super, super, super duper uh, delicate, and it was actually cracked in the box it came in already. So
Oh
like I opened it
wow.
and I was like, oh no. Thankfully, it had like the sticker that goes like this. What is it? Like the plastic adhesive that they put over it, like the big
Yeah, the
old
protective sheet,
yeah.
the one that, like, when you first get it, and there's some people who, like, hate removing it, but I love it. I'm just, like, watching it, like, "Shh," and then it's, like, perfectly clean and shiny, and it'll never look that good again
Yeah, no,
once you remove
it
it.
would never look that good again. Exactly, because you get dust and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, it was shattered onto that, so I was like, oh, thank God, like, because that stuff's really a pain in the butt to clean up. To be honest with you, glass in general is just. Ugh.
Oh, yeah.
So, since we're still on the TikTok, we talked about social media a little while
Mhm,
ago. I
mhm.
know that you and a bunch of us are trying to get into TikTok. I saw the other day, like, you had a TikTok where you were showing how to boil an egg. Uh, what other ideas do you have for your TikTok?
There's a number. I'm it completely new to it, and I'm don't really understand. So a lot of it has been feeling like time wasting, but it's kind of research where you just go and you're watching all the TikToks, like in any socials. You're trying to see what is popular, what works, what are the big players doing in this field. Because it's like a sport, right? If you want to learn a sport, you're gonna look at the best players in the sport and be like, how are they hitting those home runs, and see if you can bring that into your own game. So I'm trying a bunch of different things, looking at what's popular. A few of what has been up to mine has been voiceover stuff seems to
Mm-hmm.
play really well. Like when you have a voiceover yourself and you just lip sync to it. Don't know why. People seem to love that. Um, and which is funny because that was the original idea of TikTok was just doing like lip sync karaoke and having duets. That was sort of like the whole originality of this platform. But one big idea that I had a while ago was like minute game reviews where I do a like quick review of a game in the minute, and then of just like really quick. But I've kind of boiled that down to now, and I might do it with board games as literally not even a review. Let's take out the criticism element of it, and it's literally just a this is the game. And so I'll do like quick pans and quick shots of the board games, like the name of the game. It has dice, rolling, battles, this, that, and that's it. And make it like as compressed as possible, for like shorter, easier consumption, by the viewers, and hopefully be pretty. And that way, it kind of like inspires. And maybe I'll get sponsored by some board game companies. Send me games to do that for free.
I honestly love that idea. It kind of reminds me of I mean, not just the board games, but the video game idea. Kind of reminds me of Conan O'Brien's what is it, like 4 minute video game review or 5 minute video game review, where he like
Oh,
just
did he do that?
he does something like that. Not on he would do it every once in a while on his show, where
Mhm.
he would review a game really fast, and he's like he doesn't know video games, so it's even funnier because he's like, so you got this fucking guy that doesn't play video games, and he's playing video games, but he's not really, he just he thinks everything's amazing because video games look a lot better now than they used to. But yeah, it used to be pretty funny because he was clueless on the video game and the series, had nothing to
Oh, yeah.
had no knowledge of it, but he was just doing it.
I never got the video game reviews, but yeah, Conan O'Brien, hilarious. I've always enjoyed their stuff. All from like, I mean, The Simpsons kind of became not as funny the moment Conan stopped being a writer.
True.
It's apparent. It's apparent where talent goes.
Yeah, Conan O'Brien's amazing. Definitely, I think he's gonna end his show. His live show's ending soonish, so
I
that'll
think
be
so. Yeah, I think I saw
yeah.
that.
But I think he's gonna have something else. There's like another project on the horizon or something like that. So we'll see what he does. I mean, I've always loved Conan though. He's pretty
Hey,
funny.
maybe you'll end up stealing my idea and moving it to TikTok. You never
Oh,
have 1 minute game reviews with Conan O'Brien.
I kind of like the 1 minute game review idea. That's a good
Pretty
idea. You
good.
go through so many video games, and I think I could use something like that. Not the video game reviews, but
Mhm.
I could review like somebody's Twitch channel in 1 minute or something like that, and that would be
Oh
pretty
yeah.
dope. Yeah,
Oh yeah. Give the support and be like, this could be improved. This, and good job on this, and then
yeah.
end it.
I think I might do that. I think I might try to do that and see what happens.
Yeah. See what kind of traction you can get.
Yeah, 1 minute Twitch review. So just go to somebody's channel, review it, and boom, we'll see. I think that's a good idea. I like it. Let's see. Other than actually no, this is really important. Every time you join your Discord, and just like the rule, I know this is the rule
Mhm.
in Bolasaur's
Mhm.
Discord. If you talk about food, you gotta post a picture of the food.
Yeah.
You are a big foodie. Let me ask you, like, I guess, where did your love? I mean, everybody loves food, but where did your love and passion for food come from?
Well, the funniest thing is I used to be the pickiest eater when I was younger. I There was like so much that I refused to eat, and I really didn't eat that much, and I was like, "Ah, food, except for this and this and this." Honestly, there and speaking of food, there goes my beans.
If you want to go check them, we're good. We could continue this topic here in a second.
Yeah, we got let me just quick, it's just a quick check and then adding more time
You're
that I
good. You're good.
gotta
You're
do.
good.
It's a slow process, these black beans.
While Bolasaur's gone, let me talk to you guys about the overlays. The overlays were made by our friend It's Pixie. She's an amazing artist. If you guys could, in the description, there will be a link to her actual what is it? Etsy store. She makes emotes and a lot of other things for streamers. She's just a great talented artist. Please give her some love. She made these little Funko Pop art designs, and
Not
I
too
love
much
it.
longer now. It's gonna be a fantastic. I'm gonna put it on a bed of rice, some raw chopped white onion, and then just the black bean soup like poured on top. It's gonna be
What
so
ki-
good.
what kind of beans are you making?
Black bean
Hmm?
soup.
Okay, black bean soup. There you
Black
go.
bean soup. I believe this specific recipe is Cuban style. It's the one I'm most familiar with, and it tasted pretty good. The beans are like getting to that softness, but they still got that little bit of firmness that you don't necessarily want in the texture of the soup. So I'm thinking 20 minutes, but yes.
Okay.
What was the question when it came there? Where did it come from? Yes. So yes, I was a picky eater when I was younger, and I think it just kind of like happened. I think when it really kicked off and happened is when I hit high school. So when I hit high school, I grew up in the States and for me, allowance was now cut off. It's now get a job, you have to get your own money to buy the things you want. Like we're going to provide you food and housing and all of that, but if you want to buy your games or pay for the car or pay for this, you have to get a job. So I got a job, and once I started realizing the value of money, my dad, who's a doctor, and my mom, my stepmom at the time was a nurse. They often didn't have a lot of time to cook, so we would eat out a lot. So once it kind of came to if I wanted food outside of the home, I had to pay for it, and then realizing that I got free meals when we would eat out, I started like experimenting with the different foods I get, and then slowly over time, my palate kind of expanded. And then when I did I did a backpacking trip around the world, took about like 4 months. But that's where I picked up sort of the idea of, learning the different words in the languages of everywhere I was going. But I also realized that I'm not coming back to a lot of these places probably. And so I wanted to try. Like the other thing I do whenever I go somewhere is I look up all of the dishes that are local to only here. Something that I can't really get anywhere else. And I try to make sure that I find it and I try it. And that sort of helped continue to expand and make me realize that there's an infinite combination of foods and there's so many types of foods and even fruits. Finding fruits that I never even knew existed. I didn't even know what a mangosteen was until I hit Thailand. And then you could get them for like $1. You could get a bag of them. And you look like you murdered somebody because when you peel them open, they're like this dark red fruit. You peel them open, they stain your hands red. But the inside fruit is the purest white you've ever seen. And they just have this really like tart but sweet flavor to them.
Interesting.
And there's fruits upon fruits that you don't even realize even exist in the world, and it's kind of exciting. It's a part of travel for me, and travel is another one of my biggest passions. So traveling of the mouth is just as much as traveling of the feet for me.
Okay. Okay. Now, obviously, we know your hobbies. You really love
Mhm.
board games. You love
Yes.
cooking because we've seen a
Oh
lot
yeah.
of pictures of Bolasaur's food, and not just on a bunch of communities discourse, and it always looks amazing.
Yeah.
Um,
I get
Backpacking.
inspired. The reason we have that rule is I get inspired by all of you posting your food pics. I'm like, that looks really good. I'm gonna try that. Or it pushes me in a mode of like, this is the cuisine I'm gonna be working on this week.
Okay. Backpacking, video games. Obviously, you love RPGs, but you love all
Oh
sorts of
yeah.
games. Yeah. But do you have any hobbies that have come to you since COVID's happened that you didn't have before?
Um, streaming. Streaming was a big one of them. Um, oh, what else? It's more a lot of my hobbies got more time and kind of expanded. I guess one that it was a hobby that I wanted to start and I had all the things for it and never actually really started until COVID, was miniature painting. So I love board games, I love tabletop games. And I had a bunch of like Warhammer things and these dungeons. Oh, what was it? Dungeons and there was Dungeons and Doggies is the dog brand, but there was a Cats and Catacombs. That's their version. And I love cats. And so there were like miniature cat versions of all the different D&D classes. And like right from the beginning of COVID, I was like, well, I have time now. I'm gonna paint these miniatures. So that was, and I kind of got into mini painting. So that was one of the hobbies that I like didn't really expand like do before that I now have the time and put the energy into doing and completing.
Okay, nice. I like
Yeah.
that. You did mention cats. How's Artemis doing?
Artemis is doing fantastic. She's actually sitting there having a nap, right, watching me. I think she likes the sound of my voice or
Aw.
knowing that I'm in the room with her because wherever I am existing for extended periods, she has to come and kind of like sit in that room. She's not like a cuddle cat. She's not gonna hop up on your lap. You can hold her for a bit, but she's not gonna get uncomfortable. But she's an in the zone kind of cat. Wants to be in my area.
Okay, okay. We did end up with one question. You're gonna laugh.
The community question.
Lamar Ness wants to know, how did you get so cute?
How did I get so cute? Well, you see, when a mommy and a daddy. No, no, I don't honestly know. I chalk it up to maybe being mixed because I'm a half Puerto Rican, half Canadian, and you see that with a lot of things. It's just like you get features from so many different cultures that just make you unique and interesting. But in terms of cuteness, because for me, I know there's good lookingness. When somebody like looks good and you're like, yeah, that comes from your genes and your style and how you carry yourself. But cuteness is a very much tied to personality. So asking that is like trying to get me to self dissect myself as as like a therapist. It's like, So when were you were a little child, how did you behave?" So
Yeah.
tough question, I would say.
She told me she asked that to you at least once a stream.
She
So.
does. She does. She brings it up. It's a confidence booster as well as gets me talking about myself.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, Bolasaur, I think that is all that I have on my plate for questions. Do you have any
Oh,
questions
fantastic.
from on your end to myself?
Um How did you get to be so cute? We'll turn that around.
I don't know. I mean, I guess experiences, life experiences, like you said. I mean, you just build your personality over time. I mean, I don't really like, that's pretty much what it is. It's a good
There you go.
answer.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Yeah.
And, here's a really good one. What are your aspirations for 2021? Let's narrow it down so it's not so big, streaming wise.
I guess just continuing to grow. I mean, I think
Mhm,
it's been a good time. I mean, we've all been a lot of us started streaming because of COVID happening. And I think we've built a pretty nice, beautiful little community that
mhm,
a lot of people, come to us for, mental health. That's a big thing. I mean, I know that's you know I've had the beautiful thing, like my streaming, like I'm not really trying to make it big or anything like that. I'm happy where I'm at, streaming wise. But obviously, growing wouldn't be a bad thing either. I mean, we've all grown since we started streaming. But I think the biggest thing for me, like, is getting people to come to me later on and tell me, like, your stream makes a difference in my life, or meeting you was such a great thing because this and this and that. And I think that's like, to me, that's really a beautiful thing,
mhm.
just to sit there and like feel like a role model to somebody that you didn't know that you were. I think that's, if I had to, I guess just continuing building on that
Mhm.
foundation, just
Touching
positivity.
lives
Yeah.
and having a positive influence on others. That's a very admirable goal. I think we can all get behind that for sure.
And I agree. I think everybody, whether you're a part of our community or not a part of our community, or maybe you used to be part of our community, I think spreading positivity is the way to go. And I think that mental health is such a big thing, especially right now with COVID going on. A lot of people are feeling lonely. A lot of people, still. I mean, I don't think this is gonna like just resolve itself within the next couple of weeks. I mean, I'm about to do my first social thing ever.
Mhm.
So by the time this is airing, I'll be at the NFL draft and have gone to the NFL draft. That's the first thing I have done since January of 2020. And that January 2020, I went to the Royal Rumble WWE. It's like a wrestling pay per view event. This will be the biggest thing I've done since then. I mean, other than going to the grocery store and
Yeah.
even when I went traveling, I mean, I went from Texas to Florida, and then now I'm in Tennessee. Even that, like, I didn't really do much. It was like, go to the gas station, take a
Well,
picture.
it's gonna be a change, and you gotta make sure you pace yourself because even now, there has been times that I've when I go grocery shopping, if it's like extra crowded, this anxiety that never existed before has now sort of creeped in because my body has been conditioned to this distance, to this isolation, and then when that's breached, I'm now getting these subtle hints of, I don't even want to say agoraphobia, but it feels like that sometimes when I see the areas with crowds.
Yeah, yeah. I understand how that feels. When I went to Florida, it was a lot. It was a lot crazier. Like Texas wasn't as bad as Florida.
And
Um,
my family keeps wanting me to go down to Florida, and I have my reservations because I'm like, I don't know. It seems like a trap.
I mean, I went in what January, and there were people at grocery stores without masks.
Yeah, they have
Uh,
right now. They have no mask regulations at all in Florida, but at the same time, anybody can go get the vaccine right now. Any 18 year plus, you can go into anywhere, any pharmacy apparently in Florida, and as long as they have it in stock, you can get it.
oh,
So,
but keep in mind that was when there was a mask mandate, and the vaccine was only available for elders at that period in time. I
oh
guess
yeah.
it was elders, medical personnel, and people that maybe worked around elderly people. But yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
shot
think that
everyone.
was in Canada. That's our like phase one. I don't know if the U.S. had phases, like names for
Yeah,
the phases, but yeah.
yeah, we had phases, and then it's crazy here in Tennessee. Like I was just able to sign up and get it like easily. Like it was weird. Like because no, I mean I'm in a right now I'm in a red state, and I guess they're not taking it as seriously. So they're actually like asking people to go take the shot because they're like the shots have expirations to them.
Oh
Uh,
yeah,
yeah,
my friends who were in don't want to get make this like too political, but I have a
oh
lot of
yeah.
friends who are in Texas, and they said if you're and like a lot of the posts I kept seeing on Facebook from them was like, if you're having trouble finding the vaccine, just Google the most conservative area that you can go there, and there will be absolutely no line, and they'll probably have extras.
I mean I don't even feel
Because
like that's
trying to push
political.
people to get there to get them in some
Yeah,
places, it was difficult.
yeah. Yeah,
Was
and that's
difficult, and meanwhile, like, here we in Canada, we have a shortage, so we have finally gotten to the stage where I think it's, like, phase 2.5, we're almost in phase 3, where they have opened up to 18 plus vaccinations if you're in hot zones, and I am currently in a hot zone, but I have been unable to find a single appointment anywhere, and I check, like, every day looking for these pop-up clinics to see if I can get one.
well, I hope you find one soon, man, because
Hopefully.
I know, yeah, and it's two stages. I got the Pfizer. I'm stage one right now. I got to get the second shot. I think I get it in not this week, but the week after. So
Yeah, I think Pfizer is about a month or 2 months?
it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks, that's what it is. Yeah, it's because the biggest one that we have going around here, which they still only have for 40 plus, is AstraZeneca, and that's 4 months, I think, is the yeah, like you're supposed to wait like quite a chunk of time. So
Oof, yeah, that's a while.
yeah, I was kind of hoping if I was going to Florida, but apparently they've run out of stock. Is the Johnson and Johnson is a single dose,
The Johnson
and
and
that
Johnson, I think, is right now. They pulled it off the shelves because it was
yeah, I think they had
yeah.
a blood clot thing or something similar to what was going on with AstraZeneca, and they're looking into that deeper.
Yeah, yeah, and on top of that, I mean, it was only a one shot deal, but it was like 72%. Like, it wasn't a full like 98,
Yeah,
99%. Yeah,
true.
yeah, and that's a bit. I wouldn't. It would have been nice to get the one shot type of deal and just get it over with, but
Mhm.
I don't really want to deal with blood clots either. So, I mean, and that's it's such a risk.
Yeah,
But I rather have the shot than go visit family
exactly.
and give it to them.
Exactly. That's the number one recommendation. There's all this information on like what's good for you, but all of my friends who already have it, who are in like medical fields, and that's why they already have it. Their number one advice: don't even worry about what it is. If you can get it, get it.
Exactly, exactly. All right. Well, I think that that will
Perfect.
kind of wrap things up here, Bolasaur. It was
Thank you.
it was an
Thank
honor to
you
have
for
you.
having me.
Definitely, definitely. By the way, before we leave, 1-800
Mhm.
273 8255. That's the National Suicide Hotline. If you guys are not feeling
Yeah.
well, I know mental health is a big thing right now. Please, please give that number a call. Also, find people, get connected. If you're feeling
Yep.
lonely, get connected. I'll link up Ball's Discord. I have my
Mhm.
Discord as well. Come by, join communities. We are always loving and giving and just wanting to help if you're a new streamer. maybe you only have like 1 or 2 viewers, and you're trying to get affiliate, and you're feeling kind of down about it, come by. We'll help you.
Yeah, and add to that, internationally, if you Google is very much on board of this, you can just Google crisis lines for your own local. If you're in a different country, pretty much every country in the world now has crisis lines. So do reach out if you're feeling at that point in your life.
Yes, yes. You know what? Send a text to, if you're in Canada, 45645. Just send any text to
Mhm.
there. You'll get somebody that will be, loving to help you. Please, 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 please don't let that stuff go unnoticed, or without help. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. Bolasaur, it was an honor. Until the next time, you guys have a great day. Have a great weekend wherever you're at. All love.
Bye.